This quilt is inspired by this awesome album cover I found by a band called Scullion, and this is my version of it. So let's figure out how to make this. Let's get started right now. For this quilt, I'm going to be using my favorite thing. This is a Falsa Fern charm pack. It has got 100 pieces in it, and I love all of the colors that comes with this. I love this so much that I get this from Amazon, and I have this one of these auto shipped. I'm on a subscription for this. I have one of these shipped to me about every 6 months, I believe it is, either 3 months or 6 months, because I love this so much. And so I'm going to be using this. I'm also going to be using 2 jelly rolls. One is white, one is black, and I'm going to be using about half of each jelly roll. The other leftover pieces I'm going to use for binding, or just have them extra, because you can never go wrong having a few extra white strips and black strips. But you won't be using the whole jelly roll. You'll be using about half of each jelly roll. And this is all we need to get started. Now, because there's 100 pieces in this charm pack, if you aren't going to use this Falsa Fern charm pack, you'll be needing about 2 other charm packs, because that will give you generally about 80 squares, and then maybe part of a 3rd charm pack. Or you can just make your quilt a little smaller than mine. Mine will have 40 rows going up and down. If you really aren't sure, you can look at the pattern. But I highly recommend using this Falsa Fern 100 piece charm pack. Oh, it's so amazing. So when I cut this charm pack in half, before I cut it, the first thing I want to do is I want to measure it, especially if it has the pinked edges, and I want to see where that 5 inches is. So for this charm pack, my 5 inches measures in the valleys of the pinked edges. So I know that when I measure my 2.5 to cut these in half, I want to put my 2.5 inch line right in the valley of those pinked edges, so I know I'm getting it cut right in half. And then once I cut these in half, I'm going to just put them in a bag, and because I'm going to again pick them out at random. So I've got all these beautiful colors in this bag, and then when I get ready to sew these together, I'm just going to pick out 5 at random and sew them into a strip. So when I sew these into a strip, like I said, I'm picking out 5 at random, and they are going to be the centerpiece of this quilt. And I'm going to take these and I will sew them together the long way. And since I have 200 pieces divided by 40 rows, that leaves 5 pieces for each strip. So this is super easy. This is the first step of putting this quilt together. I'm gonna sew all these up 5 at a time in a long row. Super easy, right? Since I know I'm going to have 40 rows in my quilt, I am setting aside 40 of these, and then the rest of them I'm sewing together 2 by 2 like this, and then I will take these and press them. And by the way, it doesn't matter which way you press them. I get this separated here. And then I will sew these, so there's 4. So I'll sew 2 to another 2, like this. Let me get these separated here like this. And then these extra 40, I will just add to the end of a row of 4, so that I will have 40 sets of 5 sewn together, just like that. And this is especially a great project if you want to just chain piece everything, and that makes it so easy. All right, so I've got my rows of 5 pieces all sewn together, and I've got them up on my design wall, and I've created kind of a cool wave with it, as you can see. Now this is where you can make this completely your own. So you can go zigzaggy, you can just do one smooth wave like I did, but I love this. And so, everything's just put together random, but I think I know what I'm going to do is all the filler on this side is going to be white, and all the filler on this side is going to be used up by my black jelly roll. So since these are all 2.5 inches wide, then it will work out perfectly. But the trick is, this is where we're going to have to do some math. So I know that I want my quilt to be around 60 inches wide. And each of these strips right now, as they're sewn, are about 23 inches long. So I need to make up the rest of the 60 inches by dividing my white and my black on either side. So that's where I have to do a little quilting math. So 60 minus 23, whatever that is, I have to do the math. 60 minus 23 is 37 or something like that. So I have to divide my remaining 37 inches between the white and the black. So however, like we'll take this row, for example, however much white I use here, I have to subtract that from 37 inches and do that amount of black on this side. So it really depends on how you want your center pattern to look. That will depend on how much white and how much black. So I'm just going to take my white and black jelly rolls and figure it out step by step or row by row, so that I can have a straight edge on this side of white and a straight edge of this side on black. I hope that makes sense. It's really hard to explain, but there will be a pattern for this, so it can help you out figuring out your own quilt math. So I think for the very top one, if I start that out in the center, if I put the top strip in the center of the quilt, I can figure out, and then I can create my wave and go from there. And if I want to do a 2-inch increments or 3-inch increments to make my pattern, you know, when I add and subtract my white and black, that might make it a little easier. But I'm going to play it by ear and see what happens. Okay, so this might help explain things a little easier now that I've kind of wrapped my head around it. So on the very top one, I've added my white on one side, my black on the other. And since I know that the 5 little pieces in the middle are going to be in the center of the entire quilt, the black and the white strip are each 18 inches. So after I factor in the seam allowance and everything, that's going to be about around 60 inches total. Okay, so 18 plus 18 is 36, plus the 22 and a half. So that's right around 60 inches. It's maybe a ½ inch shy. So the next one is inset a little more that way. So I know I'm going to do mine. I think I'm going to do it in like 2-inch increments. So I know that my white needs to be 2 inches less. So I'm going to make the next white one 16 inches instead of 18 inches. And my black one add 2 inches. So that'll be 20 inches and 16 inches now. So whichever way your little curves are going, you need to account for that for your next white and black strips, so that everything will be even on the sides. I hope that makes sense. It does in my brain. So let's just keep going and see what happens. Now, in order to help myself out, I made myself this little chart that helped me, and I could check off each one as I went down the row, and this is the progress I am making. Okay, so I've got everything laid out. This is super fun to put together. I am pretty happy with this. There's going to be a lot of negative space in this with the black and the white, and so my mind is racing on how I can come up with something awesome, an awesome way to quilt this. I'm super excited about that. So my mind is really thinking forward on this one, but I love the curve here, but I'm running out of space at the bottom of my design wall. So I'm going to start sewing these strips together. I love that it's already, every strip is already the same length, so it's going to be really easy to sew them together. I just did 2-inch increments all the way down, and so it curves this way and then it curves the other way as you get closer to the bottom. So this is going to be cool. So I'm just going to start sewing these strips together. The best part about this is that you don't have to match up any seams, which is awesome. So let's get started sewing these strips together. It should go by really, really quick. Let's do this now. All right, now I've got this quilt on my long arm, and I decided to use variegated thread because it looks cool in the light and it looks also very cool in the dark. And I'm just using a free motion graffiti type pattern on it. So I'm really excited to continue with this. It's going to be epic. So there you have it. This is the finished quilt top before the quilting, and I hope you make this. It's super, super colorful and super fun to make. Hey, a huge shout out to my members. They really help me out. I love my members. Also, don't forget to join the Revelations Quilt Guild on Facebook if you are on Facebook. All the links are below in the description, including the link for this pattern. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy sewing. Bye now.